Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Yenni Lailatul Rosyidah. I am from the HADIS department. Okay, in here, I want to talk about my family daily routines and activities. Every morning, my mother always wake up early. My mother wake up at 2:30, and after that, my mother wake up my mother wake my father up and wake me up for prayer night. So my family and I prayer at night. After prayer, we waiting until subuh time. And then at 4 o'clock AM, my father, my mother, and I direct take wudu for prayer subuh. So my mother, my father, and I prayer together. After prayer subuh, usually my father sleep again until 6 o'clock. And my mother usually after prayer subuh shopping vegetable for breakfast. And I usually after prayer subuh play phone just moment. After that, I help my father cooking. Before help my mother cooking, I help wash dirty plate. And then have just help cooking. Example, cut chili, cut onion, and the other. And usually, while waiting the breakfast strip, I'm sweep yard first. After sweep yard, I'm continue for help my mother prepare the breakfast. At 7 o'clock, we, my father, my mother, and I breakfast together. After that, I was dirty plate, and my mother take a bath, and usually after breakfast, my father to feed his beloved chicken, and then after I was dirty plate, I take a bath, and then check my father which take a bath. At 7:30, I am prepared for course, and and I and I stay in room for join course. At 9 o'clock AM, my father go to work. My father work as haircut. After my father go to work, my mother prepare for seller because in the because in the home my mother seller snack for child. And at 11 o'clock, I have just finished course, and then after that I'll have my mother seller keep store. I help my mother until 1 o'clock, and then I prayer first change with my mother. After I prayer change my mother which prayer, and I keep the store. At 3 p.m. At 3 o'clock p.m. and help my mother to sweep home. And then at 4 o'clock p.m. I take a bath. And then after that I am asar prayer. Usually every afternoon I teach dinia help my ustad. And then I and then I have past 4 em I go to mosque for teach. I teach dinia until maghrib. Usually, every I go home from teach, my father has come for the work, and then we and then we maghrib prayer together. After prayer, we reciting Al Quran by self. After that, We dinner together. After dinner, usually my mother and my father watch TV together, and I do homework. At 10 o'clock p.m., my father and I go to bed to sleep. But before sleep, we isha together. After prayer, we have just go to bed to sleep. My mother sleep together and I sleep alone. Thank you very much for your attention. Uh, the last for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.